Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're actually one of the most enticing teams in the entire league. Trevor Lawrence is getting it going. He has had a phenomenal last couple of games. He has a 91.0 passer rating since week 9, which is number 2 in the National Football League, just behind MVP candidate Joe Burrow. This past week, they got a really impressive win on the road against the Tennessee Titans. Now, I know they sit at 5-8. However, there's a couple of close games away from being right there at 500. Offensively speaking, they're sitting at 15th. Defensively speaking, they're at 15th as well. Their defense is extremely promising. They just had a phenomenal draft, getting guys like Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd, but there are some gunners on this defense, and Trevor Lawrence is having a phenomenal year. So it might not be this year. We'll talk about it a little later on in the video, but if it's not this year, it's going to be next year. It's going to be for the next several seasons because this team is completely built for success. And I think they're just a couple of pieces away from being legitimate contenders, as crazy as that may sound. But before we get any further into this video, if you guys enjoy it, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let's try and get to 1,000 likes on today's video. This is my first ever Jaguars video. And it's kind of surprising because they are a really fun team. They're very fun. This was their first win at Nissan Stadium since Tennessee has built it, and I think it was just kind of a foreshadowing of what is to come, because Jacksonville has something special going on, and it's being led by Trevor Lawrence in his second season. Rookie year, he made some mistakes. Now, I want to make one thing clear. The Jags are still, whether it's drops, there are penalties. It's not a perfect team. Obviously, they're 5-8 right now, but like I said, in the years to come, this could be one fun team. But Trevor Lawrence threw like 17 picks last season. He was getting knocked. He was already getting called a bust. And this year, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,200 yards. He has a rating of 95.4. You have guys like Christian Kirk having a career year so far with 874 receiving yards. Zay Jones, there's still plenty of football to be played, and he's even missed a game. He's having a career year as it stands right now with 655 yards. Evan Ingram just kind of had his official coming out party this past week against Tennessee. He's always had the potential. He's always had the skill set and the assets, but he just has yet to put it together. And this year with Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's doing just that. He's putting it together on the season. He runs like a wide receiver. I mean, he is freaky athletic. He can make a catch. He can make a play. And that week, like this past week against Tennessee, you really saw it, where he finished with 11 catches, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence throwing him in the perfect spot for him to go up and make a play, make a catch. So I'm excited about Evan Ingram. I hope he returns as a Jaguar for years to come, because I'm not saying the league necessarily wrote him off, but like I said, he's always had it. He's always had that potential, but this year you're really seeing it come together. What I'm seeing from this offense and the defense as well, just this team in general with first-year head coach Doug Peterson, is they're creating their own narrative. That's kind of like that's kind of their mantra for this season, is we want to write our own narrative. And that's exactly what they're doing. The culture has completely shifted in the last year or so. They are having fun. The locker room, from the beginning of the season all the way to this past weekend, the locker room is awesome, man. They are ecstatic about it, and they have right reasons to. I mean, Tennessee, I know they have their holes, I know they have their flaws, I know they're missing a ton of pieces, but end of the day, they're still a legitimate contender. They're still a playoff team. And in order for Jacksonville they have a better chance at winning the division than they do making the wild card, because there's a couple of 7-6 teams. You kind of need a lot of different things to go right. Tennessee has a difficult schedule. I'm not saying Jacksonville doesn't. They do have that Week 18 matchup that everyone's got circled on their calendars. Dallas just showed a bunch of flaws this past week against Houston, so definitely can't write them out. But ideally for Jacksonville, if you're trying to make the playoffs this season, which would be crazy, it would be super impressive because they started 2-6. You need Tennessee to go 1-3. They have a game against Houston, so maybe they beat Houston. And you need Jacksonville to go 3-1, and then obviously that Week 18 matchup. I mean, who knows? especially with this past game on the road. That Week 18 game could be for the division. I would not be surprised one bit. But Tennessee, they have to finish off the schedule. They got the Chargers, who are also 7-6. They're fighting for a playoff spot. You got that Houston game. You have Dallas prime time on a Thursday night, and then finish it off in Jacksonville. When we take a look at what Jacksonville has for the season, you have on this upcoming Sunday, you got Dallas. Dallas is beatable. You never know which Dallas team you're going to get. I don't think Dak Prescott is a great quarterback, but he's a solid QB. Kind of depends on what you're going to see from the defense, but Houston really let it slip through their fingers this past Sunday. Then you go to the Jets on a short week on Thursday on the 22nd of December. The Jets have a really good defense, and I think Mike White is much better than Zach Wilson, but I still view the New York Jets as pretenders. If you can just take it week by week, take down Dallas. I mean, you just took down Tennessee. You beat Baltimore in a crazy football game, an extremely crazy football game. You never know what can happen. And then you got Houston the game before Tennessee. So, maybe, unfortunately, they lose one of those Dallas or Jets games, and Tennessee only goes 1-3. Like, they're going to need a couple of things to go right, but I think the division over the wild card is what they're eyeing at this current point. Defensively speaking, Foye Oluokun is an absolute animal. This man almost had 200 tackles last year with the Falcons. They snagged him from him, and on the season, he has 142 combined tackles. 102 of those were solos. You got rookie linebacker Devin Lloyd out of Utah. He has 89 tackles on the season. He has a couple of interceptions. He has a couple fumble recoveries. You also have Andre Sisco. He has 3 interceptions. He's also a young, promising safety. Trayvon Walker with that incredible strip sack on Ryan Tannehill that completely flipped the game. I mean, the Jaguars caused 3 turnovers in the first half against Tennessee because the game didn't necessarily start out beautifully. Right? The game did not start off beautifully. It was 14-7 after the first quarter. It's not like things were, taking a huge turn for the worse, but they needed those jolts. They needed that interception. They needed that fumble right as the 2-minute warning was coming on, as Tennessee was right by the red zone. So this defense is young, and they are hungry, and they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. And it's crazy because no one's really noticing Jacksonville. I would say the only teams noticing the Jacksonville Jaguars right now are the Jacksonville Jaguars and probably now the Tennessee Titans, because that was a huge shift from the way things have been in the last several seasons. Beating Tennessee at home convincingly, I mean, that's a very big deal. So the tides are changing over in Jacksonville, and I absolutely love it. So let me know what you guys are thinking. If you want more Jaguar content, let me know down below. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Like I said, let's try and get to 1,000 likes on my first ever Jaguar video. That would be absolutely awesome. But if you want more content, let me know. Peace.